All right, all right. It is 6:32. It is July 24th. It is Monday. I hope everyone had a great weekend. It was actually pretty beautiful here at the Northeast. Finally, no thunderstorms and crisp and clean weather. My name is Scott Redler. I am the Chief Strategic Officer at TSLA.com. Welcome to the 6:30 Club. We have a new week, very big week. FOMC on Wednesday. Lots of earnings, a few different technical changes in a lot of charts. So you better be prepared. Let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world. Who do we got here? We got Mallorca. There you go. Cool daddy. We got Texas. How you doing? We got Hoboken in the house. We got Mel. We got It's Rising and Grinding. We got Sam as usual. Everyone getting ready for the day, the week. You know, I think we have to have multiple plans. Cheers to having a process, getting up early. You know, every day above ground's a good day. I actually listened to this podcast this morning, and it said you have the life that you tolerate. Right? If you want to make changes, it's up to you to do so. And if you're not having success in your trading, maybe you're not preparing enough, maybe you're not executing with confidence, maybe you're not honoring stops, maybe you're not doing enough prep. So figure out what you have to do to better. You know, we could all do better. Anyway, what's up, Massapequa? Hard work does pay off, right? So last week, you know, everybody was talking about the, the sell imbalance on the big seven, right? What does that mean? I know that every day there was like a sell wave of, from 9:30 to 10 that kind of got absorbed. And some people got mad at me last week because on Wednesday I did say I thought that the summer top was in for the Qs. And as traders, we don't need to make calls, but as a chief strategic officer, I make some calls here and there just to let some people know what I'm thinking, bigger picture versus just trades. But anyway, so far we had a 3% correction in the Qs, and we'll see if this leads to an active sequence to the downside. You know, it's way too early to tell, but it was definitely better to be selling stock into Wednesday and reducing and then using some stops Thursday versus buying. Entries and exits do matter. So you take a look here at the Qs. So this was your 387 top, 387.98. Then we broke below that prior low. Remember, we opened below, couldn't reclaim it. Hit a low of 375.19. That was on Friday. So what do I think? I think if the Qs, if the market tries to bounce and if sellers could contain price below 380, okay, I do think that this little sequence could continue to the downside where maybe we even fill this gap. Maybe we even see the 50-day near 363. If all of a sudden, sellers are gone and we bounce back a bit today, and then we rebuild. I talk about rebuilding. And then the market wants to respond favorably to the potential of a last rate hike on Wednesday. They push the bears back and we get above 380, and that's that. But for now, I'm going to be very tactical. I'm going to take trades, or I'm going to try and take trades, etc., and continue to, do what I do, net money and look for setups. The SPYs didn't come in whatsoever, really. If you look at the SPYs here, it hit 456.43. We went below that little doji high. We were extended from the 8-day. SPYs aren't even at the 8-day. So all these, bears saying, oh, we were right. Like, right, you've been calling a recession since December and fighting this trend all the way through. Maybe now, things are a little faultier where you want a little low gross, low net. Anyway, similar thought. If the sellers want to have active control and power, they probably don't let the SPYs get back above 454. And then at some point, take out this 451.20 to see the 8-day, and hey, maybe even test 445. So, I would say, watch closely for that. Today's action is going to be interesting. Best advice from Red Dog, take trades, net money. That's true. That's how you get a paycheck, right? When a gap is in your favor and you have positions, you trim into it just in case, either which way. If you're up in a position, you could use a tier system to net money and then let some runners go. There's been a lot of rotation and maybe it continues. So maybe they continue to, correct tech and money stays with the small caps or the banks or, energy. Someone said that energy looks really good. So if you want to look at the XLE, yeah, look at, the XLE looks pretty good. You have a pocket pivot within this overall huge range. We talked about this. Some guys are in Oxy, some are in other names. Some are just in the XLE. Remember when it broke above this, spot hit 82. I'm like, it's got to hold 80, 90-ish to be good. Well, it did. It's above the moving averages. So perhaps it works its way to the top end of this channel. So there is a little void here if energy wants to continue to act better. Remember when I said that it looks like the IWM can get to 196 to 199? I didn't make that up. I was using the chart. You know, remember this big channel? Here is the big channel in the IWM. You know, we got above this 180 area, and I'm like, we could probably get towards, 196 to 199. Where did we get up to? We went up to 197.66, right in that range, with lots of ways to do it. Now the question is, does it hold this spot, which is 194.09, or not? 194. Let's see, 09. That's not that. Anyway, that's that. That's 194.09. So if you look at the weekly chart, that's where I came up with it. You can see the visibility of it a little bit easier. This was at the upper end of the channel. So if you can get above 189, we could probably see 196 to 199, and there you go. Now the question is, does it pause here and really show, alpha or not? But we'll see. So at this point, you take the trade. So with that said, stock-wise, if you remember, Luke, my intern, he broke off one of the stocks that I like that not even really on my go-to list, Bank of America. When the market responded well to JP Morgan's earnings and Morgan Stanley, I said Bank of America could play some really nice catch-up. That was down here. Remember that? I was buying the options in here. I was buying the $31 calls for like 18 cents, 15 cents. I sold them all the way up to 80 cents. That was nice, and held the stock. So anyway, what did it hit? Hit 32.11. Look at that. So every now and then, there are setups that come along that make you good money. Then you stay with them, and then once the setup changes, you get away from it. Like I know that we also spoke about some of the other names that were one-offs that I thought could play some catch-up, but then once the market showed some flashes of relative weaknesses and divergences in tech, you had to be careful with any tech stocks. Anyway, where do I think this can go? Well, what's this? This is it could go to the 33 area, and it's not even at the February highs. Look, this is the February highs. It's 37. Look what a stock like JP Morgan's doing. It took out this whole channel here. Remember, we bought options going into July 4th. That was awesome. Went to 149, retested this breakout area. So I'd watch this. It's a little extended from the 8-day. But, again, and then remember when we're talking about Goldman Sachs and I can go red to green, it was down post-earnings. Look at the move Goldman Sachs had. Woo, look at that. Right in here was your inflection point. Right in here was when you get focused, wound up taking out the trend line. Then it took out 345 and hit a high of 355. That was a nice trade. And we, for a lot of guys in the Alpha team, you didn't have to be in everything. I was in JP Morgan for a nice option trade, and then Bank of America became the focus and made good money. Again, remember, you don't need to be in everything to net money. You got to pick the setup that you feel comfortable about and figure out how you could approach it with your risk defined. Anyway, lots of earnings this week. I posted a whole calendar. I'm not going to get into it. If you want to look at some names post earnings, like look at this Tesla. Tesla, hit a high of 299. Okay, and give you a pretty big hole in the chart. Okay, gap down, give you a gap and go. So this 280 became important. Then it gave you, remember on I think going into Friday, my stock's trying to bounce back, see if it gets rejected into this 269, which was a good level. So it did get rejected, and then it did play with that low. I think some guys made some active money when it broke below it on Friday, and then made some active money long when it broke back above it. But PS, didn't really have much power here. Chances are Tesla probably gets to this area before this little corrective phase is all over. But again, we'll see how it goes. I'll probably be a little less active in Tesla because it's in a new corrective phase. It's not in a special phase. Remember when it was in a special phase, that was nice. That was just whole way up. And then into a binary event like earnings, you always have to figure out what's your time frame. If you've been in Tesla for 4 years as an investor, you probably don't care. If you're in it actively and you get paid for a living, you have to be careful. When a stock like Google is going to come out with earnings this week, Meta is going to come out with earnings, Microsoft, and the next week you have Apple. So you got to know what you can handle. Anyway, we'll see what happens here. Let me see. Where is Apple? I mean, where is let's see. Where is Tesla this morning? Tesla's down 3. So how would I approach Tesla today? I'll say, hey, can Tesla hold 255.80 and try and go from red to green? That's how I would approach it. And then maybe the market comes in, it doesn't break this low, you play it for a trade, and that's it. It's got to rebuild. The stock's going to need a lot of time to rebuild. Same thing with Netflix. It's going to need a lot of time to rebuild. Same thing. Big hole in the chart. Okay? So I would just give it some space. As far as other names, again, like Apple, Apple's interesting, I guess. Apple comes out with earnings on when? Apple earnings are August 3rd, so it's not this week. I guess that this is one trend line right here that it's not even testing yet, and then you have a more elevated trend line that's up here. So I guess see if this holds. This is last week's low, 191.23. A lot of people said that Apple was just weak because of the sell imbalance. So if that's the case, maybe it tries to bounce back, and we'll see what kind of bounce back happens in order to figure out what's next here. Did remember on Friday got below 192.63, and now we'll see, does this accelerated trend break to see a smoother trend, and that'll help give us some thoughts and clues on what tech is going to do if we just pull in 3%, or maybe tech could turn into a 5, 7, 9% corrective phase. Remember, August, September is not the best time for stocks, so we'll see. It's the best time for the beach and the mountains. So some guys looking at Boeing as a setup. I like Boeing as a setup, except for it's very choppy. So what did I do for Boeing? I bought options just in case. I think earnings are one of the earnings. Earnings are this week. If they want to have a solid report and maybe raise projections, then perhaps it could take out this 219 to 225 area. So if that's the case, you could buy 225 calls, maybe do a call spread. Right now, I just bought some calls because it's very erratic. But there's been a lot of, this is a nice long channel for Boeing. So we'll see if there's an earnings move. If money really wants to rotate, maybe money comes into Boeing. I think Meta and NVDA, I think the best gains of their year already happened, and they're both, to me, vulnerable. NVIDIA, a lot of people made money short. What's it called? On Friday, it opened up and went from green to red, right? So this was your little top in NVIDIA right here at 480.88, broke below 467, and then you could have shorted the open on Friday, and then it broke below 450, and now it's kind of into this gap. It's probably up a little bit this morning, I would think. Let's see, where's NVIDIA this morning? It's up 449-ish. So, if the sellers want to keep control, okay, they probably don't let NVIDIA get much above 450.68. So maybe you could sell a bounce. I'm not the best at shorting. I'm not going to say I am, but I am pretty good at avoiding stocks when they change. And at this point, I'm not saying this definitely changed, but it's a little vulnerable. AMD has been horrible lately. There's been sellers on every piece of strength. What was the other thing you just asked me? Oh, Meta. Meta, if you look at this, also kind of broke trend a little bit. Some fluff came out. If you want to take options, okay. But again, this was your high. Then it broke below that low right there. That was a good spot to get out of the way, or even just reduce shares considering how extended it was. And then it's been sold since. So now what? I guess you'll see you'll see what kind of bounce happens. If let's see, where's Meta? Meta right here is it's up $1. It's at 295.27. It just, again, I would let the market do a little bit of discovery the next day or two. Knick-knack, trade things tactically. Some people think that the selling was just because of the rebalance. It could have been that maybe there was something more to that because of the size of the move. So for me, I'm going to take things slow. I am actually leaving on Thursday to go to Florida. Chase went to IMG, so I'm meeting my wife there Thursday. So I'll be here for the meat and potatoes of the week. And going to continue to try and net some money. So with that said, take today slow. There is a small chance that This is the summer top for the Qs. Doesn't mean you could short everything. It doesn't mean you can't buy things long and trade them, but it means maybe you have a little less risk on for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And we'll see, do sellers reject price at 380 in the coming sessions, or does it go sideways here and then penetrate more to push them back? And we'll see the same thing with the SPYs. SPYs are tight. In order for the sellers to keep control here, they should probably not let it get much above 454. Here's 454, gets above that, then this really means nothing, just meant the 8-day was catching up, and that's that. So we'll see how it goes. Remember, look for setups, not opinions and recessions. There is some news out of Europe that things are slowing a little bit, but that's what the Fed wants, right? You raise interest rates for 9 months. Why did they do that? To slow things down, to normalize things so there's less demand and prices come in, to curb inflation. That's what they're trying to do, and hopefully on Wednesday they'll say, here's another 25 basis points, and they take a rest for a while, and we really see how it seeps through the economy and demand. With that said, good luck today, guys. I'll post some charts and see you a little bit later.